Almost every sorcerer had heard the claims that an untamed, bloodthirsty monster was on the prowl. Numerous sorcerers had tried to hunt down the terrible werewolf, but they were outmatched. Each returned from the hunt as a harrowed corpse. I was acquainted with several of the victims. I had decided to make the werewolf my next target, and I should not deceive my reader. It was personal. A sorcerer approached me, asking if he might come on my hunt. His name was Venatar, a one-eyed sorcerer. When I arrived at the afflicted area, the great werewolf had already
Why won't it show itself?
As we gazed at the hunks of flesh left in the werewolf's wake, Venatar told me of his long history with the Wolfman. Though he had no history at all. The werewolf had the peculiar habit of appearing in places in close proximity to Venatar. As a result, Venatar had lost many associates to the beast.
Has it something against me?
Could it all be a coincidence? My question was met with a swift answer.
That's what I intend to find out.
And a female sorcerer approached me. There was a reason that this woman, Sorora, had come to me discreetly. She wished to talk to me alone, away from Venatar. I did not ask the specifics, but evidently Sorora knew Venatar very well. She told me that Venatar had been closing in on the werewolf for an entire decade.
Do you not find that odd?
How could a decade pass without a confrontation? There must be an explanation. Her theory was sound, and I was tempted to become a believer. Morning came. We were told that the werewolf appeared nearby the night before. We arrived, but once again the werewolf was gone. Venatar sighed. He spoke about his past. How he had lost his eye. His wish to encounter the werewolf. To have his wish granted, he gave his own eye. He had given up a part of his own flesh, but still the werewolf had never revealed itself.
What do you reckon? Huh? Does this werewolf even exist?
Perhaps Venatar too was nearing the same conclusion as I. Now that she knew everything, Sorora was worried about him. One day, someone would have to tell him the truth. Have you ever caught a glimpse of this werewolf? Even once? Faced with this question, Venatar became visibly anxious. He made a confession. Sometimes he would wake up in the morning in an unfamiliar place. It was clear as day. The reason why the werewolf struck in places near Venatar, and why Venatar had never crossed paths with the werewolf. It was because Venatar was the werewolf himself. What Venatar had so long detested was but another form of himself. He buried his head in his hands.
Keep an eye on me for a while, will you?
He wanted a witness to observe his moment of transformation. It was the third day of keeping watch over Venatar. We heard news that the werewolf had appeared in a different location. I had not taken my eyes off Venatar for a moment. We left for the scene, so that Venatar could finally face this beast. We did not find an exhausted man after his rampage as the werewolf. We found something else. It was small and round. Venatar let out a scream. It was a human eye. It all came together in one moment. Venatar had spent years pursuing this beast known as the werewolf. Not realizing that he was the beast himself. His desperate desire to encounter the werewolf gave birth to a proxy, created at the cost of one eye. How could he not realize this, despite it being a part of his own body? Perhaps he knew, deep down inside, but chose not to accept that the werewolf was himself. Venatar rampaged over the land. Sorora came to me in tears. Please, do not kill my savior. She told me that she had met Venatar a decade earlier. Sorora had not been a sorcerer for long when she contracted a rare idiopathic disease after an encounter with a monster. She became covered in the fur of a wild beast. Then she met Venatar. It was Venatar who cured her of this awful disease. Only the disease was not in fact cured. The parasite that caused it had only changed hosts. Now it grew in Venatar. If the werewolf is not put to rest here and now, he may strike again.
Wait!
Sorora's breathing had become unsteady.
No! Don't kill him!
As she explained, her eyes shone with resolution.
Please! I'll be how I once was!
Sorora embraced Venatar. Finally, Venatar spoke. Several days passed.
Thank you for everything.
I met Venatar. His wounds had healed. It was an incredible recovery. But when I asked about Sorora, gray clouds seemed to form.
I was friends with her brother.
Sorora's older brother was also a sorcerer. Venatar and her brother had hunted together from a young age. They faced a monster together, but Sorora's brother died, and Venatar survived. The brother had wanted nothing more than his sister Sorora to be safe.
I will look after her instead of him.
Now his only wish was to cure her strange disease. His expression eased.
Well, I suppose I can stop chasing myself now.
The hulking sorcerer Venatar is still out there somewhere, freed from his own delusions. Free to care for a special girl. It started with a routine monster hunt. It was commissioned by King Rexus, famous for his hatred of sorcerers. The oppression of sorcerers was common practice in the domain of this ruthless king. But King Rexus was not alone in his mistrust of sorcerers. Sorcerers are keepers of the peace, but they deal in murder. The king's disgust was no secret. Despite this, he requested my assistance, which suggested that he faced a great challenge. I defeated the monster, and a man approached me. His name was Militar, trusted knight of King Rexus.
I was preoccupied, and so, my lord, enlisted your help.
Quelling the monster was on a long list of tasks assigned to Militar. I had heard much about this man. He was the only sorcerer to ever get close to King Rexus. Amongst sorcerers, he is called the King's Little Apprentice, or worse, the lapdog of the elite.
Won't you join my forces?
It was an unexpected gesture of confidence. But I questioned his motives. King Rexus always hated sorcerers, but he was also keenly aware of their great strength. Militar exploited this, and by demonstrating unwavering devotion, had become a rare and invaluable possession of the king. He faced suspicion in the kingdom. Once a sorcerer, always a sorcerer. People within the court would always view Militar with disdain. And here he was, asking me to join him. I'd slain the monster. He had recognized my potential. Militar asked me to do a job. He said during the task, his true nature would be revealed. The job was the delivery of a secret message to a hideout deep within the mountains. I arrived at the hideout and was greeted by a female sorcerer. The place was filled with sorcerers. These sorcerers all served Militar. He had amassed allies, and they waited for the moment to pounce. Waiting for the day they would rise up and drag King Rexus down. Countless sorcerers had lost their lives under King Rexus's rule. Militar knew this all too well. As a boy, his parents were executed for crimes they did not commit. Vowing revenge, he infiltrated the court of the enemy, planning a revolution from the inside. The secret message read, "The time is not yet ripe." Orders from Militar.
How long must we wait?
The woman swiftly crumpled the message in her hand. By delivering the message, I had been let in on Militar's secret. He asked me to become friends, but he also needed an ally to help carry out revenge. Then, one day, he confided in me. He said that he had received a letter directly from the Queen. Queen Regia had been blessed with a pregnancy. Militar was clearly distressed. He told me he'd fallen in love with the Queen, his enemy's wife. At first, it was part of the plan. But he explained that what started as deception blossomed into true love. Regia's letter proposed that they leave everything behind and flee together to a faraway land. Militar, torn inside, set out for their rendezvous. En route, he faced terrible monsters. Regia had slipped out of her residence and had arrived safely. Militar and Regia embraced. And he told her everything that he had kept from her. That he had approached her only as part of a larger plan. Regia was heartbroken and melted in distress. But Militar took her in both arms and held her tightly.
It started as a lie. But this lie became truth. I have devoted myself to vengeance, but now I devote myself to you and the child you bear.
Regia stood sobbing. She cried not out of sadness or grief. They knew that they would cast all aside and live for each other. I was asked by Militar to escort them to the border. Militar marched along the rough trail with Regia on his back. At this moment, they both had faith in their future, faith in the joys to come. Unaware that all of their dreams would be shattered. Their conversation came to a sudden end, and Militar froze. Blood ran down Regia's face. The light faded from her eyes. An arrow of ice had sunk deep within her forehead.
Where are you off to, dear Militar?
The female sorcerer we had met at the hideout peered down upon us. Militar had turned on his peers to elope with a queen. As the female sorcerer saw it. Declaring him a traitor, she fell on him with her band of sorcerers.
Dear Militar, to think I had faith in you! Treacherous cur!
Militar, in quiet despair, embraced the corpse of his beloved queen. Sobbing for 3 days and nights, until at last he took to his feet. Militar embraced his lover's body and waded into the lake. He released her hand, and she sank into the water's depths. He spoke little and left. Sometime later, I happened upon Militar. He was a traitor, on the run from the king's men. Tinged forever with self-doubt. The moment he and Regia had vowed to live together. However brief it was profoundly fulfilling. Unlike any emotion ever felt in his quest for revenge. The pain of losing Regia was a difficult thing to overcome. He wished to curse his fate and curse the world. Yet if he did, he felt that he might seal his own fate. That he would stoop to the level of a monster. He had lost Regia, but he did not wish to lose the purity of his love for her. Why let good memories be tarnished by hateful thoughts? And so he believes that there will be a day when he can accept his cruel fate. That he may lose everything, but he would not lose himself.